Hello, I'm Jennifer Cameron, and I'm submitting this video on my growth goal pre-survey data for task 2D of the HRT process. According to my survey data, element 11 was an area that I needed to work on. Interpreting the information that I received. Number 3, which was I know the difference between errors of faulty logic, attack of weak references, and misinformation, and look for these types of errors in media and text, and then what people say. This question is an area I need to work on. I do think the question was confusing for my kids after some explanation, but it was definitely an area I think I still need growth in. I obviously don't use those terms when I talk to a third grade classroom, so I did need to find a way to show them what these terms mean at their level so they can utilize it in the classroom. So this area is a weakness for me. I think demonstrating to the class myself, showing them that what we are working on is something that I want to improve on. We'll probably need to work together on the strategy and many times in order to help a good understanding. Number 6 was also an area in element 11 that I needed help on. When I speak right, my reasoning is logic. I don't think I speak in terms of logic and logical in order for students to understand that I want them to demonstrate their work logically, which conveying that and how that means, that's kind of an abstract term for a third grader. So making sure they understand what that really means and what my expectations of that word are in their academic process. The other element that I had them do a survey on was element 29, which is using friendly controversy. When giving that survey, question number 6 was a low scoring for me. I need to do a better job of making sure the students are aware that that all cannot agree on everything, and that's okay. That I don't expect them to just all agree all the time. And I need to show them strategies on how, when that happens, how can I initiate a conversation when I don't necessarily agree with who is telling me something or giving their opinion. So learning how to debate issues in a respectful manner is an area that I need to work on. Element 12 was another one that I gave a pre-survey on, engaging students in cognitively complex tasks. One question that the students scored me low on was number 2, which is I know the difference between decision-making, problem-solving, experimental, invention, and investigation task. For the most part, they understood this, but I don't think they understood exactly what I was looking for in those areas or things that we do that fit those kind of areas. So the terminology was a little hard for them to understand, but I do want them to become more complex thinkers, and I think it's definitely something I need to help them work on more. It's just to understand if there are different ways that they can interpret information when they're always answering questions on the surface. So I feel like a lot of questions get surface answers, like the typical answer or the quick answer. And I'm like, well, okay, but getting them to that deeper levels, just actually past the surface into deeper strategies and deeper understanding is definitely an area that I would like to work at because I still see kids answering questions at the surface level. So, and getting them to understand that that's what that question means is that I don't want them just to give me what seems to be the right answer right off the bat and not think about it. Think like, why am I giving this answer? Where did I get that information? How did I find that information? Is it something I already knew, or is it something that I could figure out from what I already knew and build on that? So my growth summary was this. My summary was the reason that I selected element 11 was because I scored low on it and I don't feel like it's something that I do on a regular basis. I struggle with it. The evidence of growth was that I started to use it more and more in my classrooms than now that I'm aware. I have to give them concepts that we're working in class, and I purposely make mistakes to see if they'll stop me, to see if they'll notice, to see if, and then when they can notice, can they take that to that, like, how come Mrs. Cameron made that mistake, or how come the student made this mistake? What did they do wrong? Not just they did it wrong and not get into it deeper, and can actually give me feedback and explain what I did wrong instead of just, well, I know that's not the right answer, but can't explain it in more complex terms. Element 29, using friendly controversy, which I also scored low on this element, but I would like to do something that I do this, but I feel like it doesn't flow well, and I don't know that I've went over the expectations of when we have different opinions about a topic and how to handle that and what kind of vocabulary we can use, and that will be not interpreted as harsh or need to be defended. So that's definitely something I need to work on, especially since I do so much group activity in this group in my classroom. So I started off with having the class vote on some key things that they think are important as expectations for our class rules. So I didn't establish our class rules this year. I had them look at our habits of work. What are the areas that we or what expectations we have for our work, and how can we build our rules based on those expectations so that we can meet those goals just by having rules in place. And so they came up with some rules. I said probably no more than five. Five's a lot. And then they created posters, and they created the rules themselves, and then they're put up in the classroom, and then we read those on a regular basis. Also, when we have groups, which I do a lot, they are giving us specific jobs that they need to do in the group. It causes less argument and less, well, you do everything, you don't let me do anything. It was my turn, you took my turn. There's none of that because they know exactly what their job is, and they should call each other out on it when they're stepping over into somebody else's job. So then my last area was element 12, engaging students in cognitively complex tasks. This is definitely one that I need to learn because I don't feel like my kids go into that deeper level of thinking. And again, we're focused on deeper understanding and upping the rigor. So I like this idea of students design tasks, which again I think is idea of I'm moving it forward in my classroom, being more class driven instead of me driven. It's more class driven, allowing them to have a clear picture of the task and letting them develop the task. So instead of me, like, okay, this is what we're doing. This is the first part. Now what? I'm not even giving you that. This is the topic. Now where do we go from here based on what I've already taught you, and how can we expand on that and make it bigger, allowing them to work in groups on that instead of just throwing them into and working on independently. And if they each have a job, then they're also each having a responsibility in engaging in whatever the activity is. So that is my growth goal summary and pre-survey data for tasks 2 of HRT. Thanks.